Thank you for giving me your email. It's really helpful for us to be able to send you useful information and videos that we make in the future that are related to this. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how Mia actually did it from the perspective of the mind map. We had Mia's perspective of the story, and then in the last video I kind of told you my perspective, and now I'm going to tell you it from the perspective of the tool and skill of mind mapping, and how she used that skill and how she learned that skill in those 10 weeks to help you as a parent maybe get an understanding of what's involved in teaching your child how to use this skill. This isn't just me saying you have to use our videos or our online tutoring program or anything like that. You can, but you can also do it yourself, and you can see a pattern in Mia, and I want to share that pattern with you just now. Let's watch in this story how Mia learns how to mind map. Let's go through each stage and look at the mind map influence. So she was overwhelmed with information. What she was doing was using written notes to capture lessons. She would come home and rewrite her lecture notes. It's not such a good idea to rewrite your lecture notes. It's a great thing to summarize your lecture notes, so you're condensing it and condensing it and condensing it. But rewriting them is not such a good thing because you just get stuck in a loop. And at that point, what Mia did was, when she learnt the basics of how to mind map, she went away and she got 10 of her pages of notes and started to follow the system of underlining individual keywords. The key in this is one word at a time, not sentences. I go into this in other videos, but it's really important, one word at a time. Even if you're going to underline 3 words in a row, you underline each word individually because it stops that line just continuing on and you've just underlined a whole sentence or 2 sentences. That is not editing out information and finding keywords. That one tip will save you and your child a ton of time. So she did that, and then she converted those individual words into a very simple mind map. And that process was the number one process that simplified her 10 notes into one note. The next thing she learned to do was to be able to organize her thoughts with a mind map. As a dyslexic, organizing an essay structure involves taking your thoughts and writing them down in some sort of order. So Mia learned the ability to write down her thoughts as keywords and then arrange those keywords like a puzzle on a mind map. And that's what gave her the confidence to write an essay from her own thoughts on the subject, rather than getting caught up with lines of words and sentences. She started to think about individual thoughts and concepts and arrange them. And that's so important for a dyslexic, to feel like they can take their thoughts and take them outside of their head and show someone on a mind map. And that's the other thing Mia started to do, was to be able to take a mind map and teach her sister or her mother what the mind map was all about. And she could summarize all 10 pages of her history by pointing to her mind map and summarizing it in 5 minutes. And that's a really helpful skill. We call that brainstorming a mind map or creating a cloud map. And it's following something we call the Feynman technique. You can Google it. You basically take time to explain it to someone else. And by explaining it to someone else, you're learning it. But you're also learning those bits that you don't know. And you go back and you strengthen it. But I'll cover that in other videos.
Well, like when I first started, I went from like 10 pages of notes to one mind map, didn't I?
So Mia learnt how to condense her notes into one page. She learnt how to explain those notes to someone else. She learned how to organize her thoughts in a mind map. And then when it came to the exam, she deconstructed the exam question into a mini mind map and started to think what were the maps she had in a revision and add those branches and information onto the question. And that was really key. And I think it's an interesting tip that I would give you as a parent to your child, is encourage them to rewrite the question as keywords, and it ensures that they focus in on the key words in the exam. I hope that was helpful for you as a deconstruction of what Mia did from the mind maps point of view. If you want to know the basics about how to do this, especially mapping your ideas, it's a great skill for dyslexics to learn how to mind map at the beginning and get into the practice of taking all these floating ideas and just locking them down onto a piece of paper, and it empties their working memory so they can think about something else or think about more interesting information than is immediately floating around in their head.
Yeah, when I was in the exam, when I got the question, I put the question in the middle and used the branches that I could remember from previous mind maps.
I've got a course on that, and it's on a special offer right now. We're going to launch the first mind mapping course for teenage dyslexics on the 5th of March. And there's a special offer for you. Just click through and have a look at what the course is in the next video. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye.
Well, it means I don't have to go up with many extra lessons and everything. I didn't have a clue what was going on. I just didn't know anything. It was really hard, but sorted now.